Hey YouTube, this is PrimetimePokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing and giving away the Psy Crusher Plasma Freeze Theme Deck. This is the second theme deck that I've reviewed on YouTube from the Plasma Freeze set. About a month ago, I reviewed and gave away the Frost Ray theme deck. This Plasma Freeze theme deck is featured around Leafeon. It is a Psychic and Grass type deck. And the summary on this deck says the following. Mash your opponent's minds with mental might when you play the Psy Crusher Theme Deck. Use Leafeon's Energy Crush attack to turn the power of opposing Pokemon on themselves and make sure no Pokemon can escape when you unleash Cofagrigus' Elongating Arms attack. Espeon keeps the reinforcements coming with Psy Alert, and Muck deals damage and heals itself. Then, when Beedrill confuses and poisons using Swift Sting, it won't take a mind reader to know that the shattered remnants of the forces facing you have been crushed. So in this review, I'll be talking about each and every Pokemon card in this 60 card deck. And in this deck, you'll receive the following if you do win this deck. And at the end of this video, I'll lay out the rules to entry to this giveaway. You'll receive the 60 count deck, the metallic coin, checklist, damage counters, deck box, the playmat, and then one online TCG code card. Speaking of code cards, if you're into playing the online TCG, I give away code cards on my blog every day. There's a link to my blog in the video description below. But I'm in the process of reviewing all the latest Pokemon cards. So every day I write a new review. And every day I have some type of quiz at the end of the review. If you post the correct answer to that quiz, you're entered into a random drawing or raffle for a code card. So besides those things, on the left that you'll receive in this deck, on the right is the deck list, the list of Pokemon cards and trainers and energy cards in this deck. I'll be going through each one of those now. If you're looking to start playing the TCG, the theme decks are a good way to go. They only cost $11.99 in stores. It gives you a good amount of energy cards, as well as a pretty decent deck to get started. I've actually reviewed all of the newest theme decks on YouTube, so if you go to the store and see a certain one, actually buy that or just have questions about it, you can definitely watch all of my theme deck reviews. I have a playlist out there, and you can go through each and every one and see what I think about each and every one. So okay, so I've opened the deck up. Here's the playmat. There's the damage counters, burn marker, and poison counter. Here's the online TCG code card, and that actually unlocks this whole deck. There's the set checklist. There's a coin, a blue Deoxys coin. I believe the coin from the Frost Ray theme deck was orange in color. Very cool looking though. Here is the featured card in this deck. It is a Leafeon. It is a holographic card. Normally, it is a non-holo card, but they do something a little special for the main card in these theme decks. Here's the deck box that you'll get inside the deck. Has some very nice artwork on it. So I'll open up this deck. I've actually already opened it up just to sort the cards so they're easier to show and review on camera. So just like the other theme deck from this set, this deck has 4 Eevees. This deck only has 2 Eevee Evolutions. The Frost Ray theme deck actually has 3 Eevee Evolutions. So this Eevee card has 2 moves, Signs of Evolution. It says to search your deck for 3 Pokemon of different types that evolve from Eevee, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So if you have to put Eevee into the active Pokemon spot right away, you can use Signs of Evolution to start the game and then basically get an Eevee Evolution into your hand and be able to evolve Eevee into either Espeon or Leafeon in the next turn. And then Bite, I hope it wouldn't get to this where you have to put 3 energy cards on Eevee and use Bite. But if it does come to that, if you can't find an Eevee Evolution, or you don't have any left, they've all been discarded, you'll have to use Bite. So there's 4 of those. 2 Leafeons, like I said. The other one is the holographic one. This is the main card in this deck, and the back of the box talks about Leafeon's Energy Crush attack. So we can take a look at that. So this Leafeon, 100 HP, so a little above average HP. Energy Crush does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So you may want to wait a little bit into the game before you use Energy Crush, because normally your opponent will only be able to attach 1 energy card per turn. So I'd wait until there's probably 4 energy cards out there before you really use Energy Crush. But if you get Eevee in the active Pokemon spot to start the game, Energy Crush will just keep building and building, and it actually might prevent your opponent from attaching some energy cards to their Pokemon if you have Leafeon in the active Pokemon spot and are using Energy Crush. Leafeon's other move is called Leaf Blade. 3 energy cards, 60 damage plus 20 more damage if you get a heads. So like the Frost Ray theme deck from the Plasma Freeze set, Leafeon and then Glaceon was the featured Pokemon in that deck. Very good Pokemon card. Very good Eevee Evolution. Probably rated a 5 out of 5 on my blog. Definitely a good card to have. Definitely recommend at least 2 of those in this deck. And then Espeon is the other Eevee Evolution. 90 HP, so average HP. 2 moves. The first is called Psy Alert. Does 20 damage, plus it lets you draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. So if you get this card out early in the game, you might want to use a couple trainer cards from your hand, get it down to 3-4 cards. Psy Alert will help you out quite a bit right away, allow you to draw 2 or 3 cards to start the game. And then Shadow Ball is the other move, and it does 40 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Only 1 energy card. It's a very good card right there. So both Leafeon and Espeon in this deck are very good. Definitely a nice way to spread out the Eevee Evolutions. Have 2 each. Very nice. Next up is a 2-1 line of Yamask and Copagreg. Yamask is a basic Pokemon. Does 10 damage for 1 energy card, so a good starter Pokemon. And then Ram, similar to the Eevee in this deck, where it has 3 energy cards it requires and does 30 damage. Again, you would hope that you wouldn't have to actually put 3 energy cards on Yamask and have to use Ram. You'd hope to evolve it into Copagreg before that point. This Copagreg card has 2 moves. It has 100 HP. And the back of the box talked about Cofagregus' elongating arms attack, so we'll take a look at that one. Another attack that just requires 1 Pokemon or 1 energy card and does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So both Shadow Ball and elongating arms, both are moves that can spread damage around. It actually doesn't do damage to more than 1 Pokemon at a time. But if you'd like to change this deck up a little bit and use these 2 cards in a spread damage type deck, it'd work very well. You could attack 3 or 4 different Pokemon, do 30 damage to each of them with elongating arms, and you could do 40 damage to a couple of your opponent's Pokemon with Espeon, and then put a card in there that does, let's say, 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, or 20 damage, and after a couple turns you'd be able to knock out 3 or 4 at once. So good. I actually like Cofagregus pretty well there. Grass type Pokemon now. There's a line of Weedle, Kikuna, and Beedrill, a 2-2-1 line. Beedrill, it seems like I can't run away from Beedrill from the Plasma Freeze set. When I open the booster boxes up, I'd get tons of Beedrills there. Now there's Beedrill in this deck too, but Weedle, little below average for a basic Pokemon, only 50 HP. Triple Stab does 10 damage times the number of heads you get, so not a bad starter Pokemon. Wish it would have 60 HP. But it is nice that it has a potential to do 30 damage in 1 turn for 1 energy card. More than likely it'll do at least 10. It'd be hard to believe. You have a 1 in 8 chance of getting 3 tails in a row and not do any damage. So Kikuna continues with the trend of below average HP. 2 of these just has a 1 move called Hide. It says to flip a coin. If heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. So it's in its cocoon and can't attack. So if you don't have to put Weedle into the active Pokemon spot, I would keep it on the bench, evolve it into Kikuna, still keep it on the bench, and then evolve it into Beedrill before putting it into the active Pokemon spot. If Kikuna is in the active Pokemon spot, you're probably not going to retreat it because its retreat cost is more than its actual move. And then only 1 Beedrill. Depending on how good Beedrill is, you may want to put in more. So Beedrill, 120 HP, so a little lower HP for stage 2, but both of its pre-evolutions had lower HP, so that makes sense. Swift Sting does 20 damage, and talks about this move on the back of the box. It does 20 damage for 1 energy card, plus if this Pokemon has a full HP, does 40 more damage, and the defending Pokemon is now confused and poisoned. So you'll definitely want to stick to the policy I just laid out, where you evolve Weedle into Kikuna into Beedrill on the bench, and then move this Pokemon into the active Pokemon spot, attack 1 time, and then when your opponent comes in, hopefully they don't attack you, because you can then retreat Beedrill for free. I guess if it doesn't attack you, you want to use Swift Sting again. But if it does attack you, you want to retreat it, remove the energy, or remove the damage off of it, and move it into the active Pokemon spot a little later again, and use Swift Sting again. So just one of those. And then there's Trico. There's not a Grovyle or anything in this one. No evolutions to Trico. So it's just a basic Pokemon. 2 of Tricos in this deck, 60 HP, and pretty decent move starter wise. 2 moves, does the 10 damage for 1 energy card, and then does 30 damage for 2 energy cards, but it does do 10 damage to itself if you try and do 30 damage. This would be the first card I'd probably remove out of this deck if I was trying to add another Beedrill or another Copagreg or Espeon, that type of thing. Next up is a 3-2 line of Beldum Matang. So quite a few psychic Pokemon here. Beldum has an HP of 60, 2 moves. Calculate is the first move, and it lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck and put them back on top of your deck in any order. And then Psy Punch does 20 damage. So neither of those moves are too great. I'd probably try and keep this card on the bench, if at all possible, and then evolve it into Matang. There are, I was going to say, 2 of those in this deck. 90 HP for stage 1, so average HP. 2 moves. Psy Bolt does 10 damage, plus paralyzes the defending Pokemon if you get a heads when you flip a coin, and then Psy Punch does 50 damage for 3 energy cards. So both Beldum and Matang, there's 5 cards right there that you could remove out of this deck quite easily, replace it with a little better Psychic type Pokemon. So Trico, Beldum, and Matang, you could definitely remove those, and I can talk about a little strategy at the end of this review. Next up is a 2-1 line of Grimer and Muck. Grimer, 70 HP, so above average HP for a basic Pokemon. Lure Poison requires 1 energy card, and says to flip a coin. If heads, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with the defending Pokemon. The new defending Pokemon is now poisoned, and then Sludge Toss does 30 damage for 3 energy cards. So that is 3 cards in this deck, basic Pokemon cards that do 30 damage for 3 energy cards. I don't think I'd ever put that amount of energy cards on a basic Pokemon that has only 60 or 70 HP. So I definitely try to keep Grimer on the bench. Depending on how good Muck is, I might actually remove this line out of the deck as well. So Muck, 100 HP, 2 moves. First is called Poison Suction, does 60 damage for 3 energy cards. And if the defending Pokemon is poisoned, heal 60 damage from this Pokemon. So that's a very good move, especially if you use Lure Poison with Grimer. 1 turn, evolve Grimer into Muck, and then use Poison Suction. And then Muck's other move is called Sludge Crash. Does 80 damage for 4 energy cards. And it says to flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, discard an energy attached to the defending Pokemon. So if you want to spend the time to put 4 energy cards on Muck, Sludge Crash is a pretty good move. Just awfully slow. You have to be aware that Muck's retreat cost is pretty high as well. Okay, next up is a 2-2 line of Starly and Staravia. This is the only colorless type line in the deck. It's actually the last 2 Pokemon in this deck as well. Then we'll move on to the trainers and supporters. So Starly, 60 HP, 10 damage on its only move. Still pretty average starter Pokemon, a good one to start the game. 2 of those. And then 2 Staravia, 80 HP, so a little lower HP, similar to the Weedle Kikuna Beedrill line. Staravia only has one move called Takedown. It says to flip a coin. If tails, this Pokemon does 10 damage to itself. Okay, so on to the trainer cards in the deck. First are Team Plasma trainer cards. There are 2 Team Plasma balls. And it says to search your deck for Team Plasma Pokemon and put it into your hand. And then a Team Plasma Grunt. There is only one of these. And it says to discard a Team Plasma card from your hand and then draw 4 cards. Shadow Triad. It says to put a Team Plasma card from your discard pile into your hand. There actually aren't too many Team Plasma cards in this set. I believe there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 Team Plasma Pokemon cards. And then on to the regular trainer cards, Pokemon Communication. So this is basically moving a Pokemon from your hand, putting it into your deck, and then choosing a Pokemon in your deck and moving that Pokemon into your hand. There are 2 of those. There's the potion, does the standard removes 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. Energy Retrieval. There are 2 of these. Put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. Energy Search. There are 2 of these and allows you to search your deck for a basic energy card and put it into your hand. And then the last trainer in this deck is called Superior Energy Retrieval. It says to discard 2 cards from your hand and then put 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. So this would be a card that you'll want to use later in the game when you've actually discarded some energy cards. That's it for the trainers, and then this deck has 18 total energy cards, 10 psychic, and then 8 grass. So that ends this review. Little tip on theme decks is theme decks are a very good way to get energy cards. I get a lot of questions how to get energy cards. Theme decks are definitely the best way. They're also the best way to start to play the TCG. These theme decks usually have a specified strategy with them, and they actually work pretty decent in actual battles. And then you can improve upon them little by little, and then you'll end up creating your own deck from something that was pre-constructed like this one. Now I've reviewed both this deck and the other deck from Frost Ray from Plasma Freeze called Frost Ray. Between Frost Ray and Psy Crusher, I would actually prefer Frost Ray over this one. I like Frost Ray a little bit better. I like how it utilizes Glaceon's ability in that deck to give 2 colorless energy card less retreat costs to Team Plasma Pokemon. It'd actually be useful in this deck. But out of the 2 Plasma Freeze theme decks, I would recommend that one. Both are good. If you like Psychic or Grass type Pokemon a little better, I definitely recommend this one. Like I said, either of them are good. They only cost $11.99 in stores, so they're not too expensive. Good way to start the TCG. So like usual, I'll be giving this theme deck away. And to be eligible to win this theme deck, you have to do the following things. You have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and then follow me on my blog. Once you've done those 3 things, just comment in the comment section of this video with your follower name for my blog, and then something like you'd like to enter or please enter me, that type of thing. Only 1 entry per person, and then in a few weeks I'll make a video announcing the winner. And for complete rules to entry, I'll have a list of items in the video description that you can look at just to make sure that you've understood the rules correctly. So thanks again everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me review this Plasma Freeze theme deck. Like I said, I review Pokemon cards on my blog every day, as well as give away TCG online code cards. There's a link to my blog in the video description below, and then on my, as well in the video description, I'll have links to my Twitter and Facebook pages. So thanks a lot everyone for watching. Good luck on everyone. Good luck to everyone who enters. Definitely thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.